The answer is yes if you want to practice law. If you don't know that the answer to that question for you individually is yes, then law school may not be the right thing for you, and there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, first of all, this is 3 years of your life. A lot of time. Big commitment. Tuition at law schools is very expensive. Sometimes it can cost up to $100,000 per year to attend law school when you account for living expenses and the tuition and the books and all of that. Not to mention, it's not just spending money to get the degree. You're also giving up earning time and potential that you could be doing in another job. You could be making money, maybe $75,000 a year in a different career, and you give that up to go to law school. That's 3 years times 75,000, $200,000+ that you've given up in opportunity costs because you wanted to attend law school. The question you really need to ask yourself is, can you see yourself enjoying the practice of law itself? Do you see yourself becoming a practicing lawyer? A lot of people go into law school because, oh, they want a stable career path, or oh, they think that this is going to create more opportunities in the future for other things outside of law, or you know what? I got this degree in something that isn't giving me the best job opportunities or income. I want to make more money. I don't know what else to do, so let me just go to law school. And reality is, guys, there's a lot of unhappy lawyers. There's a lot of people who get the JD who end up not enjoying the practice of law and either crash out and do other things like business or teaching, heck, the arts, like who knows, content creation. And there's also many lawyers who stay practicing law, but they don't do it happily. They do it because they feel like they're obliged to do it because they went through all the time to get the degree and they're not really happy with it. So is it worth it? Yes, if you want to practice law. And then you might ask me, well, Julian, how do I know if I want to practice law? I'm not a lawyer, and we don't exactly allow people to understand what it is to practice law until we're in the profession. So the way to think about it is you should ask yourself a couple of questions. First of all, do you enjoy advocating for something you believe in? Do you enjoy fighting for a cause? I think if you have that sense that you enjoy the prospect of fighting for someone else, fighting on behalf of an organization, an institution, somebody, something, a cause, whether it's virtuous or doesn't need to be virtuous, that's a good proxy for understanding whether or not being a lawyer is a good fit. Because frankly, that's what you do as a lawyer, is you advocate for your clients, whoever that client is, whether it's the state, whether it's content creators like myself, whether it's folks who are going through the asylum process. You are their warrior. And if you don't have that passion to fight for others and to advocate, I think practicing law is going to be pretty tough for you because it can be pretty stressful. It can be obviously a lot of work, and there are real stakes on the line for these clients. So if you don't care, it's just probably not going to be very fulfilling. Now, on the actual work side, do you enjoy reading? Do you enjoy writing? Do you enjoy critical thinking? The last one is the most important, because reading and writing, how much of that you do really depends on the type of attorney that you are. In my practice, for example, I do quite a bit of reading, mainly contracts and deal documents, not that much writing. I'm not doing memorandums. I'm not really drafting complaints that often. I do it sometimes, but not very often. And so for me, it's a lot of critical thinking and it's a lot of reading. But for litigators who do litigation full-time, it's going to be a lot more writing. Still a lot of reading because they have to read and research case briefs and whatnot, but definitely a lot more writing. And of course, yes, critical thinking as well to craft the case. Do you enjoy these things? Does that sound appealing? Does that sound fun? If it doesn't sound fun, probably a sign law is not going to be a great fit for you. Now, also, you should try to shadow people if you can. You should try to network with people. Join our Discord where we have lawyers in here who answer questions. Try to get as much insight as you can from the outside looking in, and by talking to people like me or others who can give you that insight. That's great. 100% you should do that too. But do not go to law school for the money. Do not go to law school because you think, oh, well, this is going to look good on my resume, so I could just go do something in business. If your goal is money, then I would not recommend law. I would recommend tech. I'd recommend going into business, potentially getting an MBA, or I'd recommend just working out of undergrad, or heck, not even undergrad, being an entrepreneur or working without a college degree, rising up the ranks that way without having to go to graduate school and getting a law degree. It's just not an efficient path to make money. And though lawyers can make good money, like in big law or certain plaintiff side firms, many of them don't. You're giving up a lot by way of time, by way of stress, by way of income, by way of tuition to get that law degree. So if you were to ask me, Julian, was going to law school worth it for you? I would answer directly and definitively, absolutely yes, because I enjoy the practice of law. I enjoy having the knowledge of our legal system and the power to do something about it if I really wanted to. And I don't feel that I'd have that same ability if I weren't a practicing attorney and I weren't a lawyer. But if you're asking me, Julian, is law school right for me? Well, then my response is going to be to look back at you and ask, are you ready to practice law? And do you want to be a practicing attorney? Because if the answer is maybe or no, then I'd recommend that you take a beat and you really think about it before committing. Because while it's true that going to law school can give you a stable income, while it can give you career and job security, while it can solve your question of, well, what's next in my career? This makes sense and checks a box of proverbial success on the conveyor belt. What it doesn't do for you is create that sense of career fulfillment and purpose. And those are the things that are way more important than checking some external validation box like feeling successful or making more money. If your goal is to go to law school or you just want to explore it, check out the guide that I've released to getting into law school, where I dropped all my tips on how I got into Harvard Law School and how many other mentees of mine have done the same. It's the price of a cup of coffee. You can see the link down in the caption. Please hit that sub button if you haven't. A lot of you guys are freeloaders. You're watching, but you're not subbing. And I see you. I want you to know I see you. But I can't do this without support from people like you hitting that sub button so that we can continue to pay our editors, so that I can carve out the time to create the scripts for these videos and continue putting content out like this. So please support us. Thank you, thank you, thank you for spending your time with us. Have a great day. Be well, and until next time.